Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. In case you're not sure if you're in the right place, this is your KW website and Google Analytics. We're going to talk about how to put those two tools together to boost traffic and attract more business. My name is Brenda Harrelson. I am the team lead of the KWRI Tech Training Team, filling in for Kevin Weber today while he is out of the office. So thank you all for being here. And this is, as you may know, part of a series that we've been running all year. This is an internet lead generation series, and we want to show you how to use your KW website to get more leads. And so today we're going to bring that together with Google Analytics. So you've learned up until this point how to build your online brand with your website, how to drive traffic to your site. And so now it's time to learn how to measure all that traffic and see where it's coming from, and to learn what these metrics actually tell you about the overall performance of your website. So what you're going to see is how easy and effective Google Analytics is, and the best news is that it is completely free. So before we go any further, I want to make sure you know that you don't need to be a webmaster to use Google Analytics. It's actually a very simple and easy to use marketing tool, as you will learn. So let's get started. Here's what we're going to go through today. We'll talk about what Google Analytics really is and why you should use it. And then we'll go through the steps of getting a Google Analytics account and how you add that to your KW website powered by Playster. Then once you start collecting your website's data, how do you make sense of all of that data? We'll talk about how to interpret the metrics, and then finally how to take what you're learning from your metrics and turn those into actions that will boost your business. Okay. So first of all, what is Google Analytics and why do you use it? This really helped me understand it. If you think of your website like a shop window in the mall, it's a great analogy. So think of your website as a window where home buyers are going into the mall, they're looking into windows, and they're looking into your window, and they want to know, what listings do you have? What photos or floor plans do you have for those listings? They're going to be looking at what you're able to tell them about the neighborhoods they're interested in or school districts. So how much of a community expert are you? And who are you? They're going to look to learn more about how you do business. They'll look at your profile, and that's going to make their decision on whether or not they want to come in and leave their name and number with you, do business with you. So you know that 90% or more of today's home buyers are starting their search online. 78% of those visit at least 3 different real estate websites before they decide to take action and connect with an agent. So again, this is all about making sure that yours is the one that they stop in. So how do you make sure that happens? You're going to look at Google Analytics to measure these 4 big buckets of metrics. You want to know how many visitors, how many people are visiting your site. Traffic sources is telling you how visitors got to your website. How did they find it? Google Analytics will also give you information about your content. It's going to tell you what your visitors are looking at while they're on your site. And then finally, all of this helps you set your goals. So how many visitors on your site are doing the things you want them to do and are converting to leads? And when you're able to put all of this together and understand what people are looking for and what they like, then you can tailor your KW website's content to boost traffic and get more business. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started on how to get your Google Analytics account. You're going to go to analytics.google.com, shown right there on the screen. If you don't already have a Google Analytics account, this is what you will see. Before you go any further, before you go to this URL, you want to make sure that you are logged into Google with your @kw.com account. So for example, I'm logged in with our tech trainer @kw.com. Make sure you've logged out of any other Google accounts and log in with that one before you continue. So this page gives you just a quick overview of what Google Analytics does and what the big steps are. When you've reviewed the steps, you just click on Sign Up all the way on the right side of this page. Once you do that, you're going to be presented with the new account page. Because you're adding Google Analytics to your KW website, At the top, you'll have two tabs. You're going to click on the website tab as opposed to mobile app. And the first section of that screen is setting up your account. You're going to give it an account name. So this is something that's going to describe this account. So you are able to track more than one website or mobile apps with one Google Analytics account. So if you plan to do that, you'll want to just give each one a unique name. So in this example, we're using our example agent, Annie Agent, and we're going to have her tracking the metrics from her KW website. So she's named this her Annie Agent KW account. So you can give this any name you want that makes it easy for you to refer back to later when you want to look at your metrics. If you continue to scroll down the page, the next section is called Setting Up Your Property, and you have 4 fields here to complete. The first one is your website name. This again can be anything you want. Many agents will just put their website address here. You can also give it a descriptive name such as Annie Agent's Dream Homes. It's up to you. But again, if you're going to be tracking more than one website, you'll just want to make sure you name them in a way so that you remember which one you're looking at. The second field is your website URL. So you can skip the http:// and just put in the name of your website. Just the address goes in that field. Below that, you've got the industry category. As you might have guessed, you would select real estate. And then finally, you're going to select your time zone for reporting. This is important. So when you look at your metrics in Google Analytics, it's going to give you metrics in terms of days or weeks or even hours. So you want to make sure that Google's day begins and ends when yours does. So it's important that you set the correct time zone on this screen. Okay, and then continuing down the page, you have some data sharing settings. All of these are optional, but I'll give you a quick overview about why you might want to enable these sessions. It says recommended right there on the screen, but it's completely up to you. So the first one, Google Products and Services. So you'll check the box if you want to turn that on. And when you do turn that on, what you're allowing is for Google to access and analyze your data to better understand online behavior and trends, and they'll use that data to improve their products and services. The next one in the list is benchmarking. So if you turn that on, it actually benefits you because the analytics data can be used to help build better tools and provide guidance that comes back and helps you in your marketing and analysis efforts. This benchmarking data will also let you know where you stand in your industry, and your data becomes part of a bigger research database. You're contributing to research that helps uncover important market trends like year-over-year increase in mobile traffic. Let me clear those off. Okay, and 2 more data sharing sessions. Again, these are optional but recommended. The next one on the list is technical support. If you turn that on, you're allowing support representatives at Google to access your data, and that will just help you get quicker service if you need someone to help troubleshoot or find solutions if you have any trouble with your Google Analytics account. If you don't have this turned off, then that exchange might be more difficult as your support representative can't see your data and they can't be able to as quickly help you resolve any tech issues that you have. And the last option, if you turn on account specialists, what that's going to do, if you're using Google AdWords, which we're not going to cover in this session, but if you turn that on, then you're allowing Google sales and marketing specialists to review your Google Analytics and find ways to improve the way you're spending your advertising dollars. So once you have reviewed and decided whether or not you want to enable those settings, then you're ready to go to the next step, which is to click the blue button at the bottom, Get Tracking ID. When you do that, you're going to be prompted to review the terms of service for Google Analytics. So once you've had a chance to do that, you'll click I accept at the bottom to go on to the next step. After you've done that, you have now created your account and you have a tracking ID. And you can see that highlighted there on the screen for you. It'll start with UA and then a string of numbers. So just as is instructed on this page, you're going to want to copy that. Just do a Control-C because you'll need it to paste later as we go over to your KW website in a minute. But it's this code that needs to be applied to your website so that Google Analytics and your website can be aware of each other and it can pull your data from your website. So we're going to copy that tracking ID, and then we're ready for the next step, which is to add that to your website. A question came in asking if you can add these checkboxes at a later date. I will double check for you, Scott, but I believe you can. Once you create your Google Analytics account, you can always go back to your account just by going to analytics.google.com. There's an admin tab once you get into that account. And I'm 99% sure that all of these settings can be adjusted at any time, but we can confirm that at the end of the webinar. So you've got your tracking ID copied. So now you'll log in to your KW website. Once you're in your KW website admin screen, you'll go to your site settings menu and you're going to select the site tracking option, which is near the bottom of that menu. And that is going to bring you to your site tracking page. All you do is simply put your cursor in the tracking ID field and paste in the code that you copied from your Google Analytics account. It is that simple. Once you click Save at the bottom of the screen, then you wait for a little bit. It could take up to 24 hours for your data to start showing up in your Google Analytics account, but what happens is that code actually generates more code that is applied to every single page of your KW website. So one thing that's really great about your Playster KW website is that it's integrated with Google Analytics. So all you have to do is put this ID in one time, and then your KW website tool is going to go and apply that for you to all of your pages. There are other websites where you would have to do that in a little bit more of a manual fashion. So it's a really quick and easy process with your KW websites. We won't talk about this section, Google conversion tracking. I mentioned Google AdWords earlier in the webinar, and that is what that section is for. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to adwords.google.com. Again, that's a service that Google offers for businesses that want to display ads on Google and in its advertising network. Okay, so that was easy, huh? So now we're going to say that 24 hours have passed and you go into your analytics.google.com account and you've got all this data. And the first time you can come in here, it might be very overwhelming to you. And that's because there's a lot in here. It's a very robust tool. In fact, 55% of the top 10,000 websites have chosen to use Google Analytics to monitor their website's performance. So there is a lot of information, and in the interest of time, we're just going to focus on the most important metrics for you to get started with. And as you get comfortable with them and you're taking action on those metrics, you can get a lot deeper into Google Analytics and even create custom dashboards. But let's just start with the big ones by explaining what you're looking for and then what you're looking at and what to look for. So some of the big metrics that you want to look at include visits and unique visitors. And what these mean, visits, you get a visit every time a person visits your website. And it could be the same person visiting more than one time, but each time they hit your website, that counts as a visit. So in general, you want a large number of visits. At the same time, visits all by themselves aren't always the best indicator of your site's success. So as you'll see, these metrics work together to give you a true picture of how your website is performing. So breaking visitors down, unique visitors is also a metric that you should be looking at, and that is just as it sounds. This is how many individual people are interested in your site. And this is a number that many marketing professionals consider to be one of the most important metrics, at least more important than just visits alone. Let's talk about page views next. Every time somebody visits your website, every time somebody visits one of your pages, that's considered a view. The total number of times pages are viewed on your site. You can also see the average number of pages that somebody has viewed during one visit to your site. So again, in general, high numbers here are better, but think about this. If you have a high average number of pages per visit, that could mean two different things. A high average might mean that visitors are really enjoying your site. They're very engaged with your content. They've come to your website and they're viewing one page after another, and they're staying there for a long time, looking at a lot of pages during that one visit. So that could be that they're very engaged. The flip side of that is it also could mean that they can't find what they're looking for, and so they keep clicking different pages to try to find what they're looking for. So again, that requires a little bit deeper looking at your metrics and paying attention to who your customers are and what you have on your website, and asking yourself, is it easy? Am I making it easy for my visitors to find what they want based on what I know about my audience? Okay, the next two metrics we'll talk about: average visit duration. Again, kind of like with pages per visit, this is the length of time that one person spends on your site during a visit, the average time that they spend. So just as before, it could mean positively that they are engaged with your content, or it could mean they can't find what they're looking for and they're spending a lot of time trying to find it. And without feedback, it's kind of hard to know which one that is. And then bounce rate. What this means is, what's the percentage of visitors who visit your website and then leave right away without viewing any other pages? So it's like one page per visit. So you might think that's a bad thing if you have a high bounce rate, because you might think that means visitors don't want to engage with your site. But flip that around, it also might mean that they are finding what they need right away, so they don't have to keep searching on other pages. And then the last metric that we'll talk about, which is a real good one for you to look at as you're getting started with your analytics, is the percent of new visitors. So what's the percentage of first-time visitors to your site? So once again, a high percentage here is generally a good thing, but a high percentage might also mean that visitors aren't finding what they need on your site and they aren't coming back. So once again, you have to look at the big picture to really get the story, the full story of your performance. Another thing you really need to work into looking at your metrics is the time frame. So in the upper right corner, when you're looking at the screenshot here is showing you your Google Analytics account. We're in the reporting section and we're looking at the audience overview. That's where these metrics that we just talked about are coming from. You want to make sure you pay attention to what time frame you're looking at, because getting, for example, 5,000 unique visitors in the span of a year is not nearly as good as 5,000 unique visitors in a week or a day. So it really all matters on the time frame that you have set as you are looking at your metrics. So you can control that to make the time frame be as wide or as narrow as you want. What is also cool is that you don't have to remember, or you don't have to take the trouble to log in to Google Analytics to see these numbers. You can click the email. Let me go back one screen. You can have these reports emailed to you. So from this screen, you would click this email link. And when you do that, you'll be presented with a pop-up window that looks like this. And you're subscribing to a regular report to be emailed to you. So it will give you, in the subject line of the email, the report that you were just looking at on analytics. You can choose what format you want that to come to you as an attachment. You can tell it how frequently you want to receive this report. For example, I want it every week, and that day of the week will be Monday. And then the activity level, it can be active for how long do you want these audience members to be active? And so the default is 6 months, but this is a drop down that you can change. So I would highly recommend that you sign up to have these reports sent to you. It's one less thing that you have to remember and go do. And as you monitor your metrics over time, you're going to start to see trends, which leads us to our final point. What do you do with what you're learning about your website? So these are some examples of how you can take what you've learned in analytics to inform your marketing efforts and start to boost your numbers. So you've got to know your numbers to get started, and then here's what you can do to improve those numbers to meet the goals. The first one is your content. Create more of it and make sure that it's unique and make sure that it's relevant to your audience. You don't want to use the canned content that comes with your website. Your website does come with 4 blog posts out of the box to get you started. You absolutely want to go in to your KW website and customize those blog posts and add more of your own with unique content, with unique photos, and make sure it's very relevant to your target audience. The more content you have that they like, the more they're going to come back and share it with others. Your second point is you want to make sure you're using long tail keywords. So the difference between short tail and long tail keywords, you want keywords that are very, very hyper local and super specific, so they aren't the same keywords that every other agent in your town is using. So for example, we're here in Austin, Texas. If I sprinkled Austin homes for sale throughout my blog, I can guarantee thousands of other agents in Austin are using that same phrase. But however, if I put in homes in, let's see, Mueller neighborhood near the train station, very specific things that people might be looking for if that's my target audience, then maybe I get fewer views, but I can guarantee the people that are viewing it are probably more likely to engage with me because I've got what they're looking for. So pay attention to the keywords that you're using in your content. And then finally, you want to make sure that your content is integrated with social media, and what that means is that you've got your KW website and your blog posts connected. You've got icons so that it can be easily shared by visitors to Facebook and Twitter and Google, LinkedIn, Pinterest. That way your message is spread and you get more people coming to your site and hopefully engaging with you. So again, the bottom line here is that Google Analytics alone isn't going to improve the website performance, but it gives you the insights that you need to know where you are versus where you want to be. And here are some examples of what you can do to move the needle to meet your goals. It might take a while to see improvement, so don't expect an overnight stellar result from one day to the next. Remember that it's gradual. If you have these reports mailed to you weekly, that's a great way to start. Start now. By the end of the year, see you are. That's what, 5-6 weeks until the end of the year, and guaranteed you will see some difference if you really just start paying attention to your number and being purposeful about the way that you craft your content on your website. So with that, we have a few minutes left. If anybody has questions that weren't covered, you can go ahead and send them in, and we will do our best to answer them all on the call. And if we can't answer them, then we will take them offline and send an email answer back to you. So does this work for, a question came in, does this work for agents using a third-party web hosting like GoDaddy for their Playster site? Yes. If you have, do you mean if you have a custom domain, you would still go through the same process? Okay, seeing any more questions come in. Allison is asking, can we verify our site on Google Webmasters if we are using the KW domain? That I am not sure about, but I will research that question for you and email you an answer back. The webinar is being recorded, so it will be available on KW Connect. If you go to KW Connect, let me bring up that screen for you so you know where to find all the recorded webinars. By the way, the slides that we've just shown are in the handout section of your GoToWebinar control panel, so you're able to download a PDF of the slides with supporting speaking notes, so it kind of turns into a manual for you. To find recorded webinars and other videos on KW Connect, you would just click on Resources Technology. That'll bring you to a landing page where you see links to the different tech products. There's a KW Websites link, and on that page, if you scroll down about halfway, related videos, you'll find short videos as well as past webinars that were recorded. Okay, some questions are coming in about future enhancements to the site, such as the capability to use the Facebook pixel. That is a great question that I don't have an answer to right now, Beth. But we will see what we can find out about that. For agents who are part of a team, you could share a Google Analytics account. If you have a shared website, you could do that, or you could add multiple websites to one account. That is another great question. We can work with our team to see if there's a better strategy on how to bring multiple websites together so a team could see it from a higher perspective. So yes, if you have different websites, you still can link them to one Google Analytics account. That is correct. Okay, a question came in about a specific MLS and the agreement with Playster. That would be something our support team would be able to give you an update on, Martha. If you email support@kw.com, they should be able to give you an answer on where your area stands. Okay. All right, if there's any other questions, we'll stay on the line for a couple of minutes. Otherwise, we will end the recording and the visuals. And we thank you very much for being here today. And have a great afternoon, and we hope to see you back on next Monday's webinar. Thank you very much, everybody.